We talked controversies and conspiracies.
You talk controversies and conspiracies. Oh, like when he said that children weren't massacred and they were all actors?
Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors.
9/11.
Now, 9/11 was an inside job.
Yep, Alex Jones. Primetime TV spot. On Father's Day, by the way, so there's that. Alright, I didn't think we'd get to this point of needed clarification, but in this alternate universe we call Donald Trump's America, a primetime interview is set to air with Alex Jones. Yes, this guy.
But I will stomp your head in if you start a fight with me, you thug scum. Anyways, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Bunch of cowards. Excuse me. I'm going to control myself right now. She is a demon damned to hell. We're not going to have Pepsi with baby flavoring in it. I mean, what the hell have we become? Excuse me. You think I'm a coward like you?
Now, I'm all for offering every side of an issue. I will not criticize an outlet for having the likes of Tommy Lahren on, unless, of course, they do a Bill Maher and just bond over their shared use of oxygen. But there's a difference. Debating different opinions, all good. Handing a national mainstream media platform to an unhinged Sandy Hook massacre denier, no. And it appears most of the sane world, and somehow even cash-thirsty leeches like JP Morgan, agree with me. Because not long after Megyn Give Me the Ratings Kelly announced this interview, again, scheduled for Father's Day. Like, what the is going on? Advertisers started fleeing like it was O'Reillygate all over again. And who can blame them? When you provide airtime to a propagandist who has argued that child actors were used and that 20 babies were not ruthlessly killed at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newton, Connecticut, you should not be given yet another opportunity to promote those sickening claims, especially when victims' parents are vocalizing their disdain. What is happening in this world? I mean, have these people not been through enough, Megyn? Not to mention that an unhinged Jones fan was recently sentenced to 6 months in jail for harassing parents of the Sandy Hook victims, looking for answers. Here's an answer, nut job. Get a hobby. It's saddening and should not be necessary. But in the United States of America in 2017, in this current post-truth era where right-wingers think that free speech gives them the right to just about do or say anything with the Constitution as their backstop, well, until their fellow right-wingers turn on them, or they can't handle gifts so they go ahead and block people, to double down on why free speech does not mean giving the microphone to sociopaths like Alex Jones. Just because he's buddies with Trump and has the right to say things like,
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Every time I look at Michelle or Michael Obama, the first lady or the first tranny,
does not mean that he has a right to be taken seriously. And as for Megyn Kelly's reasoning, because Trump likes him, really, Megyn? If that's how we're identifying who merits media attention, we just have one news network on the air, the Covfefe News Network, co-hosted by Alex Jones and Kim.com. But Kelly clearly couldn't give a shit. And it's time someone took her down from the morally ambiguous pedestal that was built for her because one time she held Trump's feet to the fire. This ratings grab should not come as a shock to anyone who can see past the new glamorous portrayal of the TV free agency star. And remember, this is the same host who was so outraged at the notion that Santa Claus was black.
And by the way, for all you kids watching at home, Santa just is white.
Yes, kids, the fictional character is in fact white because how else would he be so nice and give presents to kids? Not to mention she has repeatedly dismissed the role of racism in acts of police brutality committed against black Americans.
Listen, the girl was no saint either. He had told her to leave and she continued to linger.
Still swimming in a moral-free sea of ratings after Putin's exclusive, Megyn Kelly said you have to shine light on people like Alex Jones. Just because he has an audience that like to indulge in his exploitation of other people's suffering does not mean you need to understand it, debate it, or shine light on it. What you're doing here is legitimizing Alex Jones whilst running the risk of sending more people over to the dark side, all because you want to stick it to Fox and see your ratings surge. And I mean, talking of your former employer with no morals and whose standard for guests hang lower than Trump's tie, they have drawn the line at prolonging conspiracy theories, which is precisely what they did in shutting down Hannity's Seth Rich obsession. In this era of fake news orchestrated by a president who regularly attacks the media, when you give hoaxers like Jones a sit-down interview to calmly explain this reasoning behind why a massacre of children was faked, you're essentially saying, well, he deserves an hour to explain himself on primetime TV and let us know what he really was thinking. What's next? David Duke? You want to break bread over tea with him and allow him to explain why Jews are actually the cancer of America? If you must cover the Pizzagate manufacturer, then cover him the way he should be covered, from a distance, with a 25-foot pole to ensure that people understand this reservoir of falsehoods who persuaded enough of his followers that the Clintons were running a pedophile ring out of a pizza restaurant, that actually one of his followers eventually took matters into his own armed hands and last year walked into that restaurant, threatening to kill people. Alex Jones is a man who knowingly incites danger with his falsehoods, and that should never be validated with a casual sit-down brunch. Follow me on Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell and on Twitter at Francis M. Maxwell. Also, share this video, continue to resist.